Well, hello and welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Where are we? Dropping down from Armu, heading to downtown Paphos. And as tradition goes, it's becoming quite common now. I've got a passenger with me. And of course her name is Miss Ochin Grasivia Labuf.
I'm holding this
Well, yeah,
camera.
she's in charge of the camera because we can't get the mount to work in the car.
Wow.
But say a big hello, Grasivia.
Hello, everybody. How nice to see you again and again, and not nice to hold this with my own two hands. And I don't know if the cinematic is not good.
The cinematic is perfect. Look at it. Look at the sky.
No, I mean the
We've
film.
got a little slither of a moon. We've got stars up there.
Do you know how we call this moon?
Go on, tell me.
1001 Night of Scheherazade.
That's a mouthful.
It's the fairy tale.
We just call it a banana moon, as you can see.
Oh
up there
my
in the
God!
sky.
What?
Try and concentrate on the camera work, Receiver Booth, as we're driving down through Konya and, of course, into downtown Paphos.
You see, I'm filming you now. I hope.
Yeah, you're filming me now, are we? There we are. I don't think you are actually. You're just filming out the door because
No, I'm
Receiver
filming.
Booth's
Don't worry.
orientation is not very good. Anyway, tonight's topic, as we drive down, a lot of people have asked us about moving to Paphos, living in Paphos. What's it like and how do you do it? Well, it's got that a little bit more complicated since Brexit. Primarily, the people who watch our videos are from the UK, and primarily the people that ask us about coming to live in Paphos are from the UK. Obviously, if you live in the European Union, if your name's Sir Dirk, Lord and Aldo, very, very easy. You get on a big bird, touch down in Paphos, go down to the immigration, show them your European ID, fill in a couple of papers, and Bob's your uncle. You're now a resident of Paphos. But of course, if you are coming from the UK, which is where a lot of people want to come from, this could be a useful little video for you guys. Now, there are a few ways to do it, but the two most common ways are either buy a property or go and get a visa type F. What's a visa type F? You say, I've never heard of that. Well, I'll tell you in a minute. A lot of people come to Paphos and they buy a house, and of course that gives them automatic right to live in downtown Cyprus, in Paphos or Larnaca or wherever you choose to be. Qualifications for that are 350,000 euros of property that you've got to buy. It's the cheapest way, by the way. But there are certain criteria for that as well. And one of the main criteria of that is that you've got to buy a brand new build property. Yes, you heard me correctly. You can't just go and choose any old property at 350,000 euros. It's got to be one brand new, built by one of the property developers. And then, of course, they will do all of that paperwork for you. And 2 months later, you will receive your residency permit. Other qualifications for that, you're going to need an income of around about 50,000 euros to cover you, your wife, and let's say a couple of kids, or you and your wife around about 45,000 euros, which has got to come from outside of the country, and you cannot work when you are in Cyprus. You can work online, but you can't actually get a job in Cyprus. So either you're retired
Officially.
or you are working overseas. You haven't got to be retired as long as your income comes from abroad. Now, we'll get to the other points, because there's a lot of people who perhaps can work online who are perhaps in their 30s, in their 40s, or perhaps getting ready to retire, and you want to come and live in Cyprus, but you don't want to buy a house. Perhaps you haven't got that capital, or perhaps you don't want to liquidate that capital in the UK. So how do you do it? Well, you go and find yourself an immigration lawyer and mention visa type F. Yeah, it's the one they don't really want to talk about, because really they want you to buy a property. But if you go and ask a good, honest immigration lawyer and mention visa type F, again, qualifications for that, I'll explain them to you. You can't work in Cyprus, you can't get a job in Cyprus. Your income has got to be derived from somewhere else in the world. Perhaps you work on an oil rig, perhaps you work online. Okay, you can do that in Cyprus, as long as your money is coming from other countries, the UK, France, Germany, whatever it is. And again, you're going to have to prove an income of around about €3,000 a month, around about €30,000 of income for you and your partner. So not as complicated as you think it is. And if you get to know an immigration lawyer, they'll explain another little trick who I've explained to one or two people. So perhaps you haven't got 30,000 sitting in a bank, perhaps you've got 4 or 5,000. Well, you could send that to yourself here, send it to someone else, send it back to the UK and send it back again. I think you're understanding without me explaining it too much. You could be sending your money backwards and forwards to you each month. What are you going to need to qualify? Well, that income, like I've said, around about €3,000 a month coming in every single month. You're going to have a clean police record in the UK and a police report, obviously a valid UK passport. On top of that, you're going to take out health insurance in Cyprus. That's from as little as €165 a year, by the way. And now there are one or two other companies that are jumping up, making it even a little bit cheaper, but about €165 per person per year. And you have to go and have a HIV test and a blood test. And again, as long as all that is clear, when you go down to the immigration office, produce your income, produce that paperwork and a rental contract on an apartment or a villa, and guess what? Bob's your uncle. They're going to stamp that piece of paper because they understand that you are not going to be a burden on Cypriot society. In fact, you are going to be a contributor to Cypriot society. So, if you want to live in Paphos, those are the two ways to do it if you're coming from the UK. If you want more information about it, you can email us on the little channel known as Marika and me. Message in the comments. Many of you have got my number. Phone us up and we'll recommend you to a very, very good immigration lawyer who will take you through all that process. You can do it yourself, but I wouldn't recommend it. Remember, unless you speak fluent Greek, it's going to get quite complicated. Most of the forms can be put into English, so you can fill them in, but it's what to answer to and what to not answer to, which makes it that little bit more complicated. Anyway, Rusila Booth, show the route, because we're en route to downtown Paphos. And we're now going to talk about some of the things that are nice when you live in Paphos and one or two things that are not quite so nice. We were talking to Ronnie Miller and Pat the other night, and they were talking about the food prices. They've owned an apartment in Paphos for 20 years and they come out 3 or 4 times a year, between 2 weeks and 6 weeks or so. And she was saying the cost of food in Cyprus seems quite high in comparison to the cost in the UK, and that's true.
Yeah, she was saying that a few things are much more expensive here in Cyprus rather at home, but there is some things that it's more expensive in the house, in the home of them in UK. Now it all depends on taxes, I believe so, but sometimes it's in ununderstandable matters, whatever reasons it is. You just will not know. As for me, I would like to tell you something. When I arrived here first time to Cyprus, it was 25 years ago. When I saw the sea around, Mediterranean Sea, I thought the fish can be the cheapest thing. Logic says, but it was the most expensive thing, the fish.
Yeah, fish is quite expensive.
Why?
And Pat was talking about halloumi cheese. Halloumi cheese is a cheese that's only supposedly made in Cyprus. In Cyprus, it can be anything from 3, 4, 5 euros upwards for a little bit of it. But apparently in the UK, she can buy a good quality halloumi, quite a big block of it, for £1.99. So that's about €2.50. So this is the craziness in the world.
I think that's because UK get it with huge amounts.
Well, I think that's
Huge
probably
amounts.
it. Yeah, they're probably importing a massive amount.
Massive
of it,
amount, yeah.
Whereas the
That's
local consumption in Cyprus, remember, there's only a population. They say 1 million people.
Because of the
but it's not.
population. But there are some other things that are really ununderstandable. Why? Very erratic.
Well, some things are ludicrously expensive. Electricity is very, very expensive as well. And we're referring pro rata to income, remember, because you can go on the internet, get the official government figures as you can anywhere in the world, but if you want the truth about what most people in and around downtown Paphos, working in bars, in restaurants, earn, it will be somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 euros, and some of the kitchen staff will be on less. Correct, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
That's what I'm saying. And you know, we're referencing the UK here. To be honest, the weekly minimum wage is about £400, so that's knocking on the door of 500 euros. So when people say it's quite expensive in Cyprus, remember they're not earning anywhere near as much as you, and rents, I think, are quite high as well. Pro rata, that is.
The rents went up, by the way, very, very up since this Ukrainian-Russian war
started. Since the war, yeah, that's right. Because demand went through the roof. All the Ukrainians
came here. It's 2.5 years ago it started.
And the Russians came here. British are still coming here. So there's a supply and demand. Slowly, it's going back, by the way. They are going down a bit because the price of cars, second-hand cars I'm talking about now, skyrocketed as well. Well, in the lower section. So a car that was knocking around for about 2,000 went up to about 3,000. Cars that are about 3,000 went up to 5,000. And that's another thing. If you're coming from the UK, if you are relocating as part of your package, just so you understand, lots of people don't explain this correctly. If you own the car in the UK, and when I say that, you bought it 6 months before you intend to put it on a ship and ship it to Cyprus, so you haven't got to own it for years. As long as it's 6 months and 1 day prior to departure, that is classified as your car. So that means that you can bring, should we say, a 10-year-old car with you. Otherwise, you can't bring a car officially, if you want to import it into Cyprus, more than 5 years and 1 day old. So perhaps you've got, I don't know, a Toyota Corolla that's never let you down and it's 14, 15 years old. Lots of shipping agents will tell you you can't bring it. You can if it's part of your relocation package. So that car could come with you, and then you wouldn't have to trouble yourself with buying a car in Cyprus, because cars are much, much more expensive. You're not going to go and buy a car for €1,000. Well, I'll rephrase that. You can, but you're probably not even going to get home in it. You're going to need to spend 3,000 to 5,000 to buy something like a 2001, 2002 Honda HR-V. If you want something better than that, let's say a 2007 Honda CR-V, you're going to be up to around about 7,000, 8,000. The prices go up and up. Much, much more expensive to buy a car in Cyprus than it is in the UK. But the running costs are the reverse. MOT only twice a year, costs you €35, so about £30. Tyres are cheaper. The servicing and maintenance are cheaper. The road tax in general is cheaper. What else is cheaper? Insurance is cheaper as well. But if you are over the age of 75, then you're going to have to pay a massive premium, like in the rest of the world. But overall, running a car is actually a little bit cheaper in Cyprus, as long as you buy a car that is quite common. Hondas, Toyotas, Mercedes, Nissans, those kind of things. Don't be thinking to bring some exotica with you. I mean, you can, and of course if you've got enough money, you can keep it on the road. But remember, we're a small island, limited supply of parts, so of course time is of essence, and money if you want to bring in parts. By the way, we're in downtown Paphos. All that's missing is you. The sky, well, it was blue. The sea, I promise you, is blue. Mr. Bull is dressed head to toe in blue, so that must mean one thing. All that is missing is
you. Of course, you. So get yourself on the big bird. I like this building.
It is a nice
or
building,
a canoe, I'll tell you which one, and start paddling like crazy. That's because we all impatiently waiting just for you. And the building I was mentioning is that one. Oh, good job you didn't run over this man.
Looks like a nice man, nice smile on his face. Didn't get a thank you, but he was smiling.
Bless him. The building I was talking
M Boutique.
They're very interesting. No, darling.
Oh, the one next to it.
One more building.
Well, it used to be an old world-looking building.
Remember how old it was?
Yeah.
It was scruffy and very many years of old, and now it's amazing.
They turned it into some suites.
It's really
and one
nice.
of these days,
Machination
we're going to go and storm it
Oh,
Does it
it's
look very nice
nice,
indeed.
really.
So, downtown Cape Paphos, this is the harbour roundabout. We're going to take a left. Right in front of us is the main harbour car park, totally free of charge, by the way. You can park in there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 364 days of the year. Well, this year anyway. There are rumours afoot, slowly but surely, they are going to be putting up some payment meters, and of course then we'll have to put some euros in them, but not this year, and hopefully, fingers crossed, not next year. So, Cape Paphos Promenade is on the left. This is no man's land between the main harbour area, and that's where we're going. And if you're looking for us on a Friday and a Saturday night, every single Friday and Saturday, you'll find us from about 8 o'clock, 8:30ish in the King's Restaurant. If you see us, come over and say that big hello. We'd love to see you. And of course, we are there many other evenings as well. And of course, storming up and down the Cape Paphos Promenade and Harbour. And we may even be storming one of your hotels very soon indeed. I think it's time for us to say thanks for watching. If you like what you see, hit that like, smash that subscribe. Please don't forget to keep on coming back for that little bit more of our complete and utter madness as we take you on our adventures and of course give you that little bit of useful information. And if there's something you'd like us to tell you, drop it into those comments, and you never know, that little video may be coming very soon indeed, especially for you. I'd like to say a massive thank you to Sir Stuart of the Sherlock for those 5 lovely coffees on the Buy Me a Coffee platform. I'd also like to say a big thank you for those 3 delicious coffees from Baron John and of course Baroness Louise. That's how you keep the channel afloat. Hunt us down on that Buy Me a Coffee platform, and of course you can even join us as a Superstar member. We're going to make our own parking space right here because hopefully the little Gumbaroos on the motorbikes won't bother us tonight because it's not actually a weekend. Thanks for watching, and of course we'll look forward to your company again very soon indeed.
Loving and kissing you from the bottom of our 2 hearts.